Voguing does not come on itself. Voguing isn't just bam, bam, bam. Voguing comes with ballroom in its entirety.
It's about culture, but if you don't know the history and background, your voguing and your performance cannot tell important things, because the voguing is like a self-expression.
Whenever we have an opportunity to come together to celebrate, we go all out.
都有，呢個都係我其中一個教 Voguing 嘅一個宗旨嘅，即係希望大家學 Voguing 嘅唔係淨係學你跳呢一個舞種嘅一啲 technique 咯，而係希望你學呢一個舞種背後嘅一啲精髓，例如點樣可以有自信咁去呈現自己出嚟。大家可以一齊過嚟 enjoy 香港嘅 Ballrooms from Asia 可以搞到幾大咯。
This is Ballroom. The electric movements and eccentric looks. It feels like a party, but with a competitive edge. Vogue is a highly stylized dance form most often associated with the ballroom scene. But participants at these events can walk or compete in other categories, such as hands and runway. A ball is judged in rounds. The first is walked individually and judged with a passing 10 or an eliminating chop. Subsequent rounds are battles in pairs until someone wins the grand prize. These gatherings have popped up around the world, even in countries like Singapore, Japan, and China. Its story, however, starts in the 1920s in New York's Harlem neighborhood.
The roots of ballroom emerge as early as, the turn of the 20th century. Early 1900s Harlem, during the Harlem Renaissance.
There were 3 ways that black queers congregated at that time: at rent parties, which is nothing but to have a party to pay your rent; at beauty salons, that's self-explanatory; and at drag balls. And Harlem Drag Ball, though not the very first, the very first drag ball was 1869, but the Harlem Drag Ball system becomes not only a political movement, but it becomes a theological movement in contestation to the black church looking for new spaces of home. And drag ball becomes our home. I say drag ball becomes our new church.
Miss Crystal, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the third runner-up of the 1967 Nationals.
In 1967, a black trans woman named Crystal LaBeija, she resisted racism in sort of the pageant circuit. Her critique in many ways is, I am so sick and tired of white trans women winning these pageants, but she walks on stage and protests.
Crystal, where are you going? This is not the time to show temperament. Get back here and stay with the other finalists.
There's a guy named Phil Black, and he whispers, and now the whisper is my reimagination because I wasn't there, but he whispers in her ear and says, let's go back to sort of this Harlem drag ball circuit, and we'll have a ball. And they had a ball, and then they created the very first house in 1968 called the House of LaBeija.
The birth of ballroom was caught in the 1968 documentary The Queen, but the scene remained underground for primarily black and brown members of the LGBTQ community until the 1980s AIDS crisis.
So in 1981, of course, that is the first year of the surveillance of the 41 gay men who had this rare cancer, gay cancer they called it, GRID. And, ballroom begins to even grow larger in relationship to being confronted with HIV and AIDS. Vogue and performance and balls in some ways are a resistance to this moment, right? Creates a safe space, creates spaces of care, having to organize around it. But 1990 is an interesting time. 2 emblematic events happen at the same time. One, Paris is Burning as a documentary debuts in independent theaters.
Get off the floor!
Some of them say that we're sick, we're crazy, and some of them think that we are the most gorgeous, special things on earth.
And 2, Madonna's video Vogue. Which becomes sort of the anthem for the rest of the world. So you saw an explosion of ballroom markets around the country in the 90s.
That would become the kind of ballroom scene today. So it's to say that this is a cultural formation that in its earliest forms has existed already for over 100 years. So, you know, I think that's important to say in large part because it reveals the way that ballroom has largely remained rather insular.
The voguing dance style, characterized by its high energy and sharp-angled movements, was taught in Tokyo and Taiwan in the 1990s by way of cultural exchange with the US. But in Asia, the dance form existed in studios, unlike in the US, where it was mostly seen at balls. As a mere dance form, voguing would soon fade out as a trend in East Asia. That was until recently, when groups of young people decided to host balls in Tokyo, Singapore, and Hong Kong, with an emphasis on teaching Vogue's vibrant history.
What would you say to someone who's brand new? Show up. Do not be scared. People make mistakes, people fall, but the most important thing is to show up, to learn, and to grow.
如果你係第一次參與呢個 ballroom， 你又係 LGBTQ 其中一個成員，即係入邊嘅成員咧，我希望你可以 enjoy 啦，然之後可以盡情咁打扮自己最靚嘅一面過嚟，然之後嘗試多啲同人哋交流，因為喺呢個 ballroom 入邊咧，其實好安全啦，亦都冇乜，即係冇人會歧視你咯，所以可以 relax 同 enjoy 就 OK 啦。
If you're going to compete the categories, so you have to be ready and also do your research before you walk, because every category has different rules and also different dress code. Ballroom is more than voguing. So we have more and more categories other than dancing. So there are more and more categories that you can get the spotlight.
Free beat production.
5, 6, 7, 6, 1 and 2, 3 and 4。會啊，其實我教 Vogue 嘅時候，每一堂特別係教一啲，我都會由一開始嘅history 開始講起，因為 Voguing 你要了解佢嘅係佢嘅文化啦、歷史啦，然之後呢個 ballroom 究竟係點樣運作啦，你先知道哦，原來 Voguing 係咁樣嘅，因為 Voguing 其實唔係一個跳舞嘅堂嚟嘅，即係唔係一個 choreography 嚟嘅，佢係一個 ballroom style。Voguing 即係 performance 入邊咧，我哋有 old way 啦、new way 啦同 full femme 3個大嘅 performance 嘅。full femme 咧入邊有5 elements 啦。咁我哋會叫5大元素。咁5 element 入邊有第一個叫 hands performance， 即係用手部表演嘅動作啦。第二個叫做 catwalk， 係啦，就係行路好似貓仔，好似貓咁樣嘅，好多 hip 嘅扭動咁樣。跟住第三個叫 duck walk， 就好似鴨仔咁樣喺嗰個半蹲咁樣嘅狀況下去做嘅。跟住第四個就係好多人都中意做嘅叫 dip 或者 spin and dip 都得，即係旋轉再落地下嘅一個動作。然之後最後嘅叫 floor performance。我唔可以話適唔適合教 Voguing， 因為教好似一個老師嘅職責咁樣啦。反而我覺得係因為我哋 Voguing 個 ballroom 入邊有 father 同 mother 咁樣。反而我覺得係如果你做一個 mother 或者做一個 father， 你要有你嘅責任去照顧佢哋，除咗係跳舞上，仲要係日常上啊，同埋佢哋即係成長嘅階段，你要陪伴佢同埋照顧佢咯。
One of the most important things about ballroom to me cannot or is not communicated through or at a ball, where balls are very much all about competition. I actually learned the most from ballroom through all the things that have happened not on the competitive floor. So the way that folks create and cultivate families, has been one of the most important things that I've learned from ballroom.
It helped me find a place where I felt like I could call home, and it really helped me find my chosen family in a way.
對我嚟講，其實係一個好大嘅轉捩點嚟嘅，因為學咗 Vogue 以前嘅我同埋而家嘅我咧轉變咗好多。因為以前嘅我咧就比較封閉少少啦，同埋都比較即係隨波逐流多少少嘅，我覺得。因為以前嘅我就好似覺得你越好似 normal 少少咧，會好似越親近到大家咁樣，但係依家嘅我就開始發掘到自己內在嘅一面，或者自己中意自己嘅邊一面。
We are always welcome. We welcome everyone and anyone of any race, background or anything. It's all love.